Unfortunately, Wizard, it's already too late. In the age of information, which we're living in, where knowledge is right at your fingertips via the internet, the press, the ability to communicate between not only other media sources but the world. The world has become a much smaller place. Unfortunately, so is with so much information, we tend to forget. The American people are doomed to repeat this. It's already happening around the world. Genocide was forgotten as soon as these pictures were taken. It happened in Laos. It happens in Africa. It's happened in Europe again. It's happened in Iraq, and it will happen because too many people out there in the world sheep, not just the American, but the world, quickly forget such things like what made a Hitler come out. The rise of Hitler didn't happen by accident. Not some little crazed maniac man running around chopping up Jews. It took him to allow sheep, people, to accept whatever he was feeding them, and made them fearful enough not to do anything about it. That's why I keep harping, because my kind are a very rare breed. People who see this and people willing to say, hey, this is what's happening today. If you would look at the German past, were in the days of your papers, we had to have papers to travel. Today, America has put themselves right back in the same situation that Germany did years ago. But instead of papers, it's now IDs like this, with a new world order symbol, the North American Free Trade Agreement, the chips that are under these, the squiggly little lines that you see here, doesn't mean shit to you or me, but these chips is your life. Where back then you had to have papers this big, written and approved of by whatever government official. Today, the paperwork was reduced to this. No, we haven't learned a thing. If anything, in the age of information, we have grown more dumber, more stupider, unable to learn from our past, and we are truly doomed to repeat it, because that's what's happening today. The reason for such frustration was in this election. It proved it to me that people are moving more and more towards another Hitler, ignoring the super hyperinflation, ignoring the buying and selling of America, where very soon it will be accustomed to follow a Hitler type. When countries like North Korea, Russia, China no longer becomes the enemy, but the people will be leading us. In the future, there's going to be not a hated dictator, but a loved one. Look at Zimbabwe. Look at Cambodia. Look at Laos. Look at all these countries that had so-called hated leaders, but what happens to them? They're very loved. North Korea, one of the most hated leaders, is the most loved leader in that country because he's got the force to back it up. Hitler didn't die. The Hitler types were never, like Eisenhower here tried to do, to show what the Hitler types were truly like. Unfortunately, Hitler never died. He just grown stronger, grown smarter, learned how to bribe the sheep even better. Learned to make people just smart enough to run the machines, yet dumb enough to question why. Dumb enough to accept this and not smart enough to ask why. That's what's happening today. Even in the world's sheep, the American sheep, And that the sheep means people who are smart enough to do what they got to do and dumb enough not to question it. Smart enough to do what they're supposed to do, be hard workers, be productive citizens, say your prayers, obey government no matter how corrupt it gets. Knowing they're corrupt, but not smart enough to say why. Not smart enough to do something about it. To hand over more and more of your freedoms every day. Just hand them over. For your protection. What's a right? What's a constitutional right but a privilege that you have to ask? Raise your hand up. Can I ask a question? And this is what we get into. Oh no. Take this and shut the fuck up. This is what's ultimately going to be required for all Americans to be. Look at it. Look at it. Long, hard, and cold. That's our future. The chips, they're coming. And you're going to gladly accept it. But there's a few of you going to call me an asshole. I'm just glad I'm the one asshole you wish you listened to.